Hello everyone. Today I'm going to talk to you about KidZone creating a graph. Working with this website is good for students to see information visually in any subject, but it can be especially helpful in a math class. This is a great site as a teaching tool that teachers can use to show information to their students. On this page to create a graph, you have a help zone that can be of assistance if you are having trouble. At the end of the help zone, there is also create a graph tutorial. This tutorial is very helpful. It gives step-by-step instructions on how to make your graph and put in your data. And on the side, there are also different ways of talking about the graphs, but one of the most important is how to choose which type of graph to use. It goes down each graph that is listed on the website, and it tells you how to pick one that your information will go correctly with. If you look at the tabs on your left, underneath the Help tab, there is an Examples tab. And this shows different examples of the type of graph offered on the website. I'm just going to click on star shape with data. This star shape graph, it does come up as a completed graph, but if you go to the tabs on the right, you can go through the graph and it shows you how they put the information in correctly. And this can be helpful when you're putting your own information in to use as a guideline. Now I'm going to make a graph to demonstrate how one is completed. First, you have to choose which type of graph you would like to use, and depending on the information being placed into the graph, there may be a specific graph you choose. I'm going to demonstrate how to create a bar graph since I feel as though it is one that is very common. When you click on the bar graph, it comes up with different options such as which direction you would like the graph to go, what shape you would like to use, and which style you would like to use it for your graph. For the direction, I'm going to choose True 3D because I feel as though it's something that's different that most people don't use. And then for the shape, I think I'm just going to keep it as a rectangle. For the style and background color, I'm going to choose purple because that's my favorite color. And then for the grid color, which is the color that your bars will be on, I'm going to choose light blue. The amount of grid lines you can change to be different, but I'm just going to leave it as a 6 because I feel like that's a general grid line. And you can also change your appearance. When you change it to 2D, the bars will be flat, but if you keep it at 3D, the bars will come at you. And the legend you can also position on the left or the right, and I'm just going to leave it at the right. Now, if you go back to your tabs on the right, you will see the next tab you go down is the Data tab. So you have different things to place in, your graph title, your x-axis, and your y-axis. For the graph title, I'm going to use homework and study hours weekly. For this, I just interviewed a couple students here at Millersville to see how much study hours that they do. For the x-axis, I am going to put students because those are going to be the students' names at the bottom of your graph. And then for the side of your graph, which is called the y-axis, I'm going to put hours because going up, we're going to see how many hours each student studies during the week. For the data set, you can change how many items you would like to have. You can have up to 50 items. I only talked to 5 students, so I'm going to keep my items at 5, and I'm only doing one group, which means I'm only doing one value. So since I'm only doing one, I'll keep it at 1. For my item, I'm going to do the first person, which is Marissa, and then her value study hours is 12, and then I'm just going to keep going through the graph, placing the different students that I talked to into their tabs, their correct tabs. And then I also threw myself in there to give a variety of numbers. And then you have to put in your minimum and your maximum value. So the minimum hours is 7 and the maximum value is 15. Next, once I have all this data placed in, I'm going to go to the side and click on labels. When the labels come up, there's different things like the data labels if you would like to show them, which means when your bars are placed on the graph, it will show in the bars what's the value of each, so you're not guessing which the actual value is. So I'm just going to have it state the actual value. And then the position I'm going to do on the inside top of it so it can be clear to see, the inside top of the bar. And then I'm just going to put the label color as black, just keep it simple. It should be easy to see. And then you can change the background color as well, but the default color always works. For the font, I'm just going to choose something plain and simple, easy to read once again, just the ABC. It gives you a different variety if you want to be fancy and artistic, but sometimes just plain and simple is good because when you choose fonts that are different, it's hard to tell which one you're doing. And then I'm just going to have it be white, the font color. 14 is a good size, but you can also change that as well. Next, if you go down to preview, you're going to click, and there is the graph that I created. As you can see, these were the labels that I was talking about that go into each graph, so you're not second guessing. It has all the students down at the bottom and the hours on the side. Now, when you go back through everything, you want to be careful what you choose, but as you can see in this help tool, as I go through the different tabs, it will tell me different, like where the graph title appears, where the source appears, what the data set is, in case you are unsure of what you're putting in, because you don't want to place your information wrong. Same with the labels. It comes up showing which labels are what. So when I have my preview and I like what I have, I'll go to print save, and then you can just print your thing. You can start a new graph, erase your graph, or you can just download the graph. But sometimes if that can get too tricky, emailing the graph to yourself works just as good. So that's basically how you create a graph, and you can there's many different types of graphs to choose from. So whichever one works best with your information, you can choose. But thank you for listening. That's how you create a graph.